Hi guys, so let's keep talking about the Kibbe image identities. I'm gonna leave the link on my playlist down below so you would check that. So today let's talk about Kibbe verified celebrities list. He did reassign some celebrities. Later he put them from one category to another. And why is that? I can only explain how I see this. So we just discussed this. I think it's very interesting. As far as he wrote his book, Metamorphosis, in the 80s, so in the 80s, there was not internet. He couldn't check the height of people. He couldn't check their pictures in bikini and stuff like that. So as I see this, all he could do is whether he observed the stars in front of him, maybe they were in the same parties or fashion shows, I don't know, or he would watch the movies with them, or he got some from an older system, McGimsey. She also talked about this dramatic, gamine, classic. She also talked about yin and yang balance in the body. So it's not a new system. So he kind of got it from her, and she already had some stars assigned to a certain category. So he didn't have to type them. He just put them in their list from her. So some of them were in the list. Many of them he put in the list. So I think whatever was available to his eye, he could use to type this or that person. Now, he couldn't check their real pictures. He couldn't check their full body pictures always. So I think I think he worked from what he saw. Then later, when internet appeared, he could Google some of the stars. Then again, he could see more stars over and over again in front of him. So he could check their vertical line and stuff. And also, many people started being interested in his system and internet. So many people contacted him, and many people were asking him questions about this or that celebrity, and what people guessed based on his book what type this or that celebrity was. So he would say whether yes or no, or he would say maybe this star is this. Maybe he remembered how she looked in his head, so he could kind of do that. Maybe he Googled some pictures. Another thing that he said, that all the celebrities, or majority of them, lie about their height. So they're publicists, they don't tell us the real numbers. So normally their height is always slightly higher than they were in real life. Maybe for the image, maybe so they would look taller in the eyes of other people on stage. I don't know why, but it's just the fact. So he said that he's seen many celebrities, and he knew about this, that many celebrities had this height in internet, but in real life they were smaller, sometimes much smaller. And I do believe it's true, you know, because, you know, height of Marilyn Monroe officially was 5'6", but then when she died, it was officially 5'5". And also it's true that in some time people get slightly smaller maybe in time, but I don't know. He couldn't fully rely on that height in Google, because he could see some stars in front of him and he could see how tiny they were comparing to what they told they were. Which makes sense, right? Another thing that Kibbe still thinks that typing celebrities is a parlor game, because everybody is very different, and also celebrities, the way that we can perceive them is just from the pictures from Google, and pictures is always an illusion. Even the most real picture is gonna be slightly an illusion for us. In real life, you look different, but I still like talking about this on my channel. You know, I find the more I look at that, the more examples I see, the more I'm educated in the whole fashion industry. The easier for me is to buy right things for myself, and the easier for me is to look fresher and better every day with less effort. That's why I think, to me, that's very cool that I can observe those people, that I can go over his list over and over again, search for their pictures, show them to you guys, discuss them with you guys. So I think that's very interesting and very educating. It's not educating at that point when you start comparing yourself to this or that celebrity and you start being confused. So this is when it's not beneficial to us. And also it's not beneficial when people start really arguing about this or that celebrity. Oh, she's not that, she's not that. And they spend a lot of time and effort and energy just to disagree. So this is another outpoint of this thing. But to me, everything is pretty clear so far. Since I started learning his book, everything, like, things started going just clearer and clearer and clearer. I'm not confused. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell this or that type, but I'm not starting being like super confused and upset about it. No, I just perceive it as like a next step of my learning process. First, let's talk about Rihanna, because many people are very confused because she is tall, and David Kibbe said she's theatrical romantic. And at the same time, David Kibbe says that theatrical romantic can't be taller than 5'5". They're normally petite, they're small, they have small vertical line of their hands and feet, their limbs are shortened, so people get really confused about it. What I think happened is, again, like with Charlize Theron, if you've seen this video, you should check this, it's very interesting. It's about people's misconceptions about this or that Kibbe verified celebrity. So what I think happened is he remembered Rihanna in his head, or he saw her personally, and he saw that her real height was pretty small. In this case, she is a theatrical romantic. If she's tall, if she's really tall, and he doesn't know about this, then he would probably say, reassign her. He would probably say, if she's that tall, really, then she can't be theatrical romantic. She can be one of taller types. As far as her bones of the face and her rib cage is pretty delicate and her shoulders are pretty delicate, she has some curves, some softness in her. To me, she also doesn't look that tall, to be honest. And if I didn't find out about her height, that is in internet again, in Google, they might be lying, I don't know. But in Google, her height is pretty big for theatrical romantic, for normal theatrical romantic as we used to them. So she looked pretty theatrical romantic to me all this time. So we will see what happens. Maybe he will look closer on her and reassign her. In one of David Kibbe groups, I even seen that somebody said that David thinks that she's 5'4". I don't know how he thinks this. He whether saw her in front of him and he kind of measured with his eyes, or he knew from somebody else. But if you're tall, you can't be theatrical romantic. They have short limbs. They are smallest, one of the smallest types. So with Rihanna, that was just an example. Now let's go to his celebrities list, and I'm gonna mention every celebrity that he said was possibly this type, maybe this type, or when he reassigned this one from one category to another, because maybe he saw her in person or he found out more information, more pictures of her in internet. Kate Moss, he said she's probably dramatic. She's 5'7". Keira Knightley, he said she's probably dramatic. And I like using her as a dramatic example because for me, yeah, she just doesn't suit to any other type rather than dramatic. I think she's very angular in this sense. So, and she looks quite vertical to me, so she could be a dramatic for me. Rita Hayworth. In Kibbe's book Metamorphosis, she was a theatrical romantic. But then he reassigned her to soft dramatic when he found out that she was taller. She was 5'6", so when he found out about it, he reassigned her from theatrical romantic to soft dramatic because probably he realized that she is not that delicate in bones anymore. She can't be that delicate anymore. And she has longer vertical line, obviously. So her bone structure and her facial features and her facial bones are pretty prominent, just bigger and longer. Anne Hathaway. So that's what he said about Anne Hathaway. She's a flamboyant natural on his list, and he said about her, might have had work done and might not look quite flamboyant natural. She's 5'8". To me, she looks quite flamboyant natural. Even if she'd done some work, I don't know, but to me she does. And even though she doesn't have that powerful upper torso, upper part, like her shoulders and her rib cage are not that wide, I still think that she is much more flamboyant natural than, for example, soft dramatic or dramatic. It's just not that vibe or essence. I don't know how to explain this. Just her face, her smile, her bones on her face, that's much more flamboyant natural to me than anything else. So I totally agree with him. People also look at these things too mathematically. They try to count just every line of the body and just it equals that, but they stop looking at the person itself. You know, the person itself is the whole structure, the way she talks, the way she looks, her smile, her facial features, all that telling us those other things. Bliss Danner. reassigned by Kibbe from soft classic to flamboyant natural in 2016. I could see why, because probably he could see some pictures of her like that, looking like that. And she does have pretty balanced facial bones, but then we can't perceive just the face without the rest of the body. We can guess sometimes like what kind of face this person has, but just in general, just to have the overall picture, we need to see the full body, head to toe. So if you look at her head to toe, she does have that long vertical line. She does have width, especially on the upper part of her body. And even though she has some curves, she's not curve dominant. We don't see her curves, don't perceive her curves right away. We don't perceive her as a curvy woman, lush and voluptuous, right? So we perceive her more as a pretty tall vertical line and slight width. Ingrid Bergman. So in the book, in Kibbe's book, she is natural, but he reassigned her to flamboyant natural. She has longer vertical line, probably. I think her arms are longer, so he looked at her and he reassigned her to flamboyant natural. Katie Holmes, he said she's probably flamboyant natural. Angelina Jolie, he said she's some kind of natural. Didn't specify what kind of natural she is. Thinks she's one of the naturals. Jane Fonda, he reassigned from natural to soft natural. Even though she's quite tall, 5'8", soft naturals can be slightly on a taller side, so probably he didn't see enough vertical line in her body to call her flamboyant natural. Not enough maybe angularity or width in her body. And she still have blunt bones, so I think he just reassigned her to soft natural just because she's slightly more delicate probably than flamboyant naturals and not as long. Uma Thurman, he said she's probably flamboyant natural. Here's his comment I found about Kate Middleton, the princess. He says, I think her style as princess is pretty good for soft classic, but her physical self and pre-royal style seems more natural based to me. She's 5'9". When I looked at her, my first thought was that she was natural, flamboyant natural, something like that. Especially when she's wearing that more soft classic lines on her outfits on her. I think that plays as a contrast even more with her bone structure. So to me, that was obvious that she was flamboyant natural. So I'm very happy that he mentioned that. They just made me be more sure about my perceptions. Sandra Bullock, he said she's maybe soft natural. Jessica Chastain, he said she's probably soft classic. She's actually 5'4". Kirsten Dunst, he said she's probably soft classic. Coco Chanel, he reassigned her from gamine to flamboyant gamine. Probably he found out that she was slightly on a taller side. Gamines are normally slightly more petite and more sharp and delicate in bones, and flamboyant gamines, they have bone structure not wide, but slightly broadly angular, but slightly, not much. They're not naturals, they're not soft naturals. They're still gamines. Bridget Bordeaux, he said she's probably soft gamine. Natalie Wood, he reassigned her from soft natural to soft gamine. Soft naturals are broader, especially their upper back and their upper shoulders are slightly wider than soft gamines. Soft gamines also look slightly more petite. Jacqueline Smith, he reassigned her from theatrical romantic to soft dramatic, and I think the reason of that again is vertical line and height, because again, theatrical romantics are normally petite and soft dramatics are taller on the taller side, and they have vertical line and more prominent and sharp bone structure, more dramatic bone structure. So I think this is why. Jessica Brown Findlay, he said she is probably soft natural. Interesting thing he said about Pink, he said she's soft natural or flamboyant natural. She might just work out so much, hard to know. She's 5'4.5". So when I checked her pictures on the beach, she looked quite small to me. So I don't see that vertical line in her. So if she's flamboyant natural, I doubt about it. If she's soft natural, it's probably closer to soft natural, but again, she worked out so much, so she has a lot of young in her. And I heard somebody said in internet several years ago that she was flamboyant gamine or something. And I think I even put her picture in one of my, when I described some of flamboyant gamine, I don't remember, I might do that. But this is still one of the questions that I would ask David if I saw him. Now, Scarlett Johansson, that's what he says about her. Has had things done. You can see her straight shape in an earlier movie before work. Even though he said that, I don't see that he needs to explain these things because there are loads of curvy, soft naturals and they are still frame dominant but not curve dominant. Even though Jennifer Lopez, she has curves, right? She has smaller waist and wider hips. She's pretty juicy, but she's still frame dominant. She has wide bones and wide bone structure. And on top of those wide bones, we have that flesh that is making them slightly wider too. And there can be more curves, there can be more straight lines. So as we can see, it's not always the case. So sometimes we even have to forget about the figure, more concentrate about yin and yang balance and about long and short vertical line. All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was interesting. It's just a good discussion thing. And I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye. Subscribe on my Pinterest for 13 boards as an inspiration for the body types. Also, you can subscribe on my Instagram. All the links I'm gonna leave down below. Also, you can become my sponsor or subscribe on my Patreon for some exclusive videos, some early access to these videos, and just if you want to support me and my channel. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.